Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Blackjack. Today, as always, I will be doing a YouTube comment section deck tech for you guys. If you're interested in having me put a deck together for you or help you tweak a current list you're trying to work on, I'm looking for any of the 5 metrics in the comment section. A bracket, a budget, a theme, a commander, and any pet cards you have. Today, we have a request from a personal friend, Chimney Cricket. Long time, blah, blah, blah. Looking for Satya, Aetherflux Genius. Energy theme, no game changers, double triggers if we can, we can't. Relatively budget, we are super budget here. We did include Strionic Resonator and Panharmonicon like he wanted, and then an energy themed name. Nice and easy. I decided to call this Shock Value. Get it? Energy value. Nice. Satya, Aetherflux Genius is a colorless, a blue, red, and white. So does Jeskai. Menace Haste 3/5. When it attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of a non-token creature you control. You get 2 energy at the beginning of your next end step. Sacrifice it unless you pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value. This deck is going to do one thing. Generate power. All you are going to do is make energy. You are going to be big oil. All you are going to do is generate energy all game long. That being said, not a ton of strong energy creatures or permanents in the game right now. This deck is not powerful. It may think it is. You may generate a lot of energy and think you're strong. You're not. But you're going to have a good time doing it. And if you do find yourself getting tired of not winning many games because your best cards have the text energy on them, feel free to cut a couple pieces and add a couple good cards. But until then, have a fantastic time playing in Bracket 2 and goofing around making energy. That being said, we have Aetherstorm Rock. It is 4 mana. When it or another creature enters, you get 2 energy. When it attacks, you may pay energy and then put counters on your guy and tap up to 1 creature defending player controls. This energy card is actually one of the better energy cards there is, and it's still 12 cents. So just keep in mind, again, you really want to stick to bracket 1 or 2 here. Aethertide Whale, when it enters, you get 6 energy, and then you can pay 4 to bounce it. So if we're super late game and you have nothing to spend your mana on, this is a big boy that you can bounce back and forth to go infinite on energy, so to speak. Amped Raptor enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy, exile a top card. You can play it as long as you pay the amount of energy equal to its cost. So, super cool card, actually. I need a drink, sorry. Assaultron Dominator enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. Preface this by saying I looked at all the energy generation printed in Magic right now. There's a ton in these colors and colorless that do generate energy, so I did have to make a bar of the least bad ones. So I'm making sure that all of these creatures that are 2 or 3 mana are generating at least 2 or 3 energy, no less. We have to be getting a decent amount of energy for what they do. Aurora Shifter deals combat damage, get that much energy. Beginning combat on your turn, pay 2, it becomes a copy of a creature, which whenever it deals damage, it gets this much energy. Blaster Hulk cost 1 less for each energy you've paid or lost this turn. When it attacks, you get 2 energy, then you may pay 8. When you do, it deals 8 damage divided you choose among 8 targets, up to 8 targets. This is actually like one of your best things going on in this deck. Having this out to deal with multiple creatures as well as hit for a massive amount is one of your main win cons and is one of the best win cons you have going. Brotherhood Scribe, you can basically tap it if you have Metalcraft to get an energy every turn. Combustible Gearhulk is one of your best payoffs. So even though it doesn't have to deal with energy, it is cheap and it is a card that's effective at drawing you cards, which when we're at this low of a budget, it's hard to get consistent card draw. Mind you, if you look down here, we are at $138. It's nearly impossible to build a 3-color deck for like under 200 unless it's extremely powered down, in my opinion. For what we have here for this budget, I think it's has exceedingly good potential. I'm just saying, as I said earlier, you can scale it up very quickly if you choose to. But for now, he's one of the cooler payoffs. Dr. Madison Lee, cast an artifact, get an energy, and then you can pay one to do a bunch of stuff. Most important being draw a card or return in an artifact. This is a heavy artifact theme. Guide of Souls, gains life, gets energy. Inspired Inventor, ETB, make 3 energy. Again, even these little guys, they don't seem like they do much, but at the very least, when you are attacking with your commander, you're able to copy these guys and basically just net 3 free energy. Liberty Prime recharged. So another super cool reason to build this deck. I actually wanted to build a Liberty Prime artifact deck. I just unfortunately was not impressed enough with the energy cards available. I do think at some point this deck and decks like this, decks like Liberty Prime, are going to get super good. It's just a matter of when they print those. Lightning Runner, you can pay energy to untap creatures, and you also get 2. Razorfield Ripper, when it or equipped creature attacks, you get X energy, and then it gets XX, where X is the amount of energy you have. So this is going to do a really good job at getting you energy every single turn and crashing in for damage. Riddlegate simply enters the battlefield, get 3 energy for 2 mana. That's as good as it gets. Robo-Brain Warmind, power toughness equal to the cards in your hand. When it enters, you get energy, equal number of artifacts, and then when it attacks, you can weaponize that energy to draw cards. There are lots of ways to generate energy, so what I would say is don't be afraid to spend it. You're going to get it very often, and pretty much everything in this deck is built to generate or weaponize it. So don't be afraid to spend, get back, spend, and just go for it. Don't try to build up to like 20 energy to do like one really cool thing. Royal Cartographer, land ETBs, you get an energy. Sentry Bot, energy generation. Sphinx of the Revelation, you gain life, you get that much. It has flying and lifelink, and then you can weaponize it to draw cards. This is an amazing card in this deck. Synth Eradicator, a haste, when it attacks, exile top card of your library, you get 2 energy. If you don't, you may play that card this turn. So you get a card off the top, and then you can choose to play it or get energy. So this is just great card advantage for a deck like this. Whirler Virtuoso, when it enters you get 3, and then you can also make Thopters. Finally, the Motherlode, 5 mana, when it enters the battlefield, choose an opponent, you get energy equal to the number of non-basics they control. Then when it attacks, you may pay 4. When you do, destroy target non-basic defending player controls, and creatures that player controls without flying can't block this turn. This will end the game. Not only does it do an amazing job at netting you a truckload of energy, but if you do happen to destroy a non-basic land and creatures that they control without flying can't block this turn, that's in most decks gonna just be a one-shot because there are so many flying decks out there. Sorcery is just 2. Blasphemous Act in case you've gotten overwhelmed and haven't been able to build up. And then Jolted Awake, you get an artifact or a creature out of your graveyard, and it generates energy. Instance, this is by no means a control deck. You are not holding up mana ever. You're tapping out for all this energy generation and then utilizing it. That I don't want you to hold up mana for counter spells. That being said, I did give you a couple of things that protect your board. This is a low to the ground, heavy board presence type of deck. You're going to have a hard time winning if you get board wiped once, twice. It's going to be nearly impossible to come back from. So I put 4 different ways, technically 5, for you to protect your board. It's really important that every game you are consistently having at least 1 to use. That's going to keep your game from ending, especially when you're talking about artifact and creature decks. Those are the 2 most board present, in my opinion, commander decks out there right now. For that, you have a Chroma's Will, which can double act as a way to end the game. Boros Charm, Dawn's Truce, Flawless Maneuver, and then Electro Siphon I counted because you can technically counter a board wipe, plus it also gets you energy. Other than that, your removal, Dispatch, Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares, and Galvanic Discharge, all great removal in these colors. Finally, artifacts, Aetherflux Conduit, 6 mana. When you cast a spell, you get energy equal to the mana spent. Then you can pay 50 energy to draw 7 and cast any number of those spells. A great card, and probably the best payoff there is right now in energy decks. So if you happen to have this, this would be the one caveat to go ahead and spend energy every time you get it. I would say if you do have this, go ahead and save for that. Aether Refinery doubles your energy, so there is a little bit of doubling in here. Aetherworks Marvel. Whenever a permanent you control is put into a graveyard, you get energy, and then you can look at the top 6, cast a spell without paying its mana cost. Arcane Signet for ramp. Azoria Signet, Boros Signet, Felwar Stone, Izzet Signet, Solar Transformer, Soul Rain Talisman, Talisman. 10 up, 10 down. You could easily go to 14 and more consistently hit your commander, but I don't think your commander getting out on turn 3 is the most important thing. I think you have so many ways to generate energy and to kind of get your wheels spinning in this deck that it's not a must-needed thing for you to operate. If you find that it is, and you want to get your commander out more consistently, look for some cuts and go up to 14, and then you'll hit that over 50% in all of your games. By turn 3 you should have your commander out or be able to cast it. Bespoke Battle Wagon, taps for energy, taps to draw cards, good way to generate and spend. Whenever a creature you control enters, get 1 energy, and then you can pay 4 to bounce it. So this decoction module, not a super amazing card, but there are some tricky things you can do with it. You can pay the 4 to bounce back maybe a combustible Gear Hulk that you have out on the field, and then you're able to replay it, generate a little bit of energy, and get more card draw out of it. So there are some things that you can do when you have extra mana laying around to invest in this. Gonti's Aether Heart. When it or another artifact enters, you get 2 energy, and then you can pay 8 to exile this and take an extra turn. This is cool because you don't have to pay that 8 mana, or sorry, that 8 energy. You can just allow this to essentially get you 2 energy all game whenever an artifact enters. So what I recommend is get this out early, let it generate you a ton of energy, and then once you have a big board presence and you're ready to win, go for like an all-out attack on one person, then finally get rid of Gonti's Aether Heart, take an extra turn, and go out for another all-out attack. Idol of Oblivion should be consistent card draw with our commander creating token copies of our creatures. Izzet Genitorium, if you get energy, you get that many +1, plus you can draw a card by tapping it. Lightning Greaves to protect your guys. Panharmonicon as well as Strionic Resonator were both requests from Chimney Cricket. So copy target triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets as well as things entering the battlefield doubling. So there's a lot of tricky ways to utilize these in this deck. I would say just play it and learn as you go, but surface level you are doubling all the energy entering with things like Panharmonicon, which is very good. Plasma Caster generates energy when you attack. Solar Transformer we mentioned. Stone Idol Generator, whenever a creature attacks you get an energy. And then Skull Clamp, consistent card draw on the cheap. This is probably the best card draw in the format at the price. And then finally Swiftfoot Boots, another way to protect your team. Enchantments, just a couple. Aether Revolt. So I don't think this whole top part is going to matter for you a ton, but the bottom part's the main reason I wanted to put it in here. Whenever you get 1 or more energy, this deals that much damage to any target. So for 4 mana, you basically get all your cards not only generate energy, but then start to turn into like lightning bolts. So your 2 mana creature that generates 3 energy and lightning bolts something Now we're starting to get into the realm of very powerful. Caretaker's Talent for card draw, Era of Innovation for more energy, and then finally Static Prison as another removal piece. Lands, so I'll note that though you can build this deck in any way you want, I always say when it comes to especially 3 mana bases, do your best with what you own and then build up from there. If you want an idea of a cheap and effective mana base, I would reference this deck list. I tried to give a really, really good mana base at 3 colors with special utility lands, and it only ended up being like $65. This is probably as good as it gets for $65 in my opinion. So if you're looking for a way or ideas or what kind of lands to use for a lower power deck that's multiple colors, try to use this as a baseline. I think you're going to be in a good spot. That being said, the non-basics that I think are non-negotiable: Academy Runes for extremely obvious reasons, Archway of Innovation to give something improvised and make it cheaper, Helios 1, you can tap it to get energy, and I believe that is it. So overall, I think this deck's going to be a lot of fun. I think any bracket 1 or 2 or like pre-con power level, you're going to have a good time just generating armies of energy induced creatures and hopefully ending the game with combustible gear hulks. So overall, I think you're going to have a good time. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. Godspeed.